What's going on, YouTubers? It's me once again, RKO2582, back to do another edition of my personal African American Wrestler Chronicles. And this week, I'm going to talk about this.
Can you dig it, sucker?
The father, WCW Champion Booker freaking T. Yes, Booker T, the man who pretty much made WCW what it was, and then he went to WWE, and they, if not one of the most decorated African American athletes I've ever did see. And so let's not waste any time to get this discussion underway. Sucker!
Can you dig it, sucker?
How I was introduced to Booker T. Alright, as you know, during his WCW days, I remember my dad and I used to watching him during his tag team days of Harlem Heat with his brother Stevie Ray, and they became 10-time WCW Tag Team Champions, and if not one of the most impressive African American tag teams I ever seen. I mean, these two really knew what tag team is all about. And for those who have not watched their matches, you need to watch some of their Harlem Heat matches, and you'll be blown away with what they can do. And then, as you know, once the Harlem Heat thing started down, and I think Steve Ray went to the NWO, I think Booker T started getting his first taste in singles action, and he became, I remember him having that WCW World Television Championship around his waist, and then, you know, yeah, he was a good champion and all that stuff. So I have to thank WCW for making me know who Booker T really was before he really made a name for himself in WWE before the buyout. And now, my favorite matches.
Can you dig it, sucker?
My favorite matches of Booker T. And there's plenty. Alright, I'm going to start off with Booker T versus Scott Steiner for the WCW title, which was at the final WCW Monday Night Show in Panama City. And this was very good for me because Booker T was pretty much the U.S. champ going in, and then Scott Steiner was, of course, a world champion going in. And so when he beat him, I just couldn't help but I just loved it. I mean, it was a good moment. He was holding the world and U.S. title at the same time. I mean, I think the last person I remember doing that was, of course, Goldberg, and it was that special to me. So, and then yeah, and he made that speech after, like, you know, when WCW was bought out by WWF or WWE at the time, which I totally remember because I was in the 8th grade when this stuff was going down. I mean, sorry, 7th grade. Alright, yeah, it was amazing, alright, next you had The Rock versus Booker T at SummerSlam 2001 for the WCW title, and Booker T at the time was a five-time WCW champ because he won it back from Kurt Angle. Yeah, and I was surprised Kurt Angle beat him too. So yeah, and you know, The Rock just recently came back from doing The Mummy Returns after 4 months, but in the show he was suspended. Yeah, and The Rock was pretty much owning Booker T from promo-wise and stuff, and then Booker T finally showing that he can take it to The Rock, and then once it got to match time, it was a good main event match, and I was so happy Booker T got a main event spot on a pay-per-view he'd never been before, SummerSlam, on the grand stage, and then it was a good match. I've watched this match a few times, and the last time I watched it was when a friend of mine lended me The Rock's 2008 DVD, The Most Electrifying Man in Sports Entertainment. It was a good match. It never gets old when I watch it. And even though Booker T lost, I was happy that The Rock beat him at the time, because I was kind of hating on Booker T because everyone was saying Booker T was a Rock wannabe because he was using the same finisher as The Rock. Instead of Rock Bottom, it was called the Bookend. Yeah, it was a good, you know, little angle to their feud. And boy, great match. Alright, next match, a favorite of mine was the Booker T versus Triple H at WrestleMania 19 for the World Heavyweight Championship. I have to say, watching this match, it was not a bad match. Booker T really had to pull out all the stops and stuff and show that he can hang in the main event. But I hate the fact that, just like most of you, I mean, even though Booker T was really built up as the underdog, they would even talk about his past, his criminal record, all that stuff, and how he's come up and stuff. And I personally, on a personal, as much, and I hated Triple H at this point. I really hated him more than anybody else, and I really hate they had to go racial with this. I thought the promos that Triple H cut were pretty much racist. Yeah, because I felt kind of bothered by it. I mean, I know he was trying to get heat, but I just thought they went a little too far with that. And then the worst part of it all is that Booker T didn't win, and I really still think, even to this day, that Booker T should have won that match. He should have won, no doubt. I mean, he was over with the crowd and everything. And it's almost like nearly a decade, and I still say that Booker T should have won. Alright, enough about that. Next, I enjoyed the Fatal 4-Way elimination match between Booker T, Rob Van Dam, John Cena, and Rene Duplessis. The Fatal 4-Way elimination match for the U.S. Championship at the Great American Bash 2004. This was a really good match back when the U.S. title meant something, unlike nowadays. Yeah, it was a good match, and I like the fact it came down between Booker T and John Cena. They were the final two, and then of course John Cena keeps his U.S. title because he was the U.S. champ going in and trying to stack the deck. And Kurt Angle at the time, he was the GM of SmackDown, pretty much making John Cena's life a living hell. And trust me, I hated Kurt Angle doing it because John Cena was my boy coming up and stuff. But then later on, I enjoyed Booker T and John Cena once again, but this time it was a best-of-5 series. I enjoyed every single match, and it ended at No Mercy, where John Cena finally got the U.S. title back. I know, after Kurt Angle stripping him of the title, and then Booker T winning it in an 8-man elimination match. I know, and he won it, and it was, and I like this series. It was really amazing, making that U.S. title mean something, like I said earlier. And then he did it again with Chris Benoit. I know, going back to their WCW days, they did it again, the best-of-7 series. You know, the first person to win, 4 matches. Yeah, I know. To win the series as a whole. I know, and it was a good match. I mean, good matches and stuff. And it started at Survivor Series. It was great. I enjoyed it. And then they did it throughout SmackDown. And then they did it again. It finally ended at No Way Out 2006, which I saw that pay-per-view, by the way, and it was a good pay-per-view for what it was. And Chris Benoit, beat Booker T for the U.S. title and become the undisputed U.S. champion. And it was a good series. I mean, like I said, I really liked that U.S. title meant something at that time, unlike now. And finally, the Booker T versus The Rock once again in the early SmackDown 2002. But this time it was a lights out match. I remember this match, like it was yesterday, because I remember when it first happened. And this was around, I was in 8th grade around this time when I saw it. And surprisingly, Booker T beats The Rock. He beats him. I think he gives him the bookend on the table, and then that's how he won the match. Pretty much like, it was almost like another way of saying, like, the first one to get knocked out wins. I mean, knock out the person wins, yeah. That's why it's called Lights Out. So, those were my favorite Booker T matches. And now, without further ado, the details.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Alright, my opinion, the D-Push. Okay, after WrestleMania 19, where he unfortunately lost to Triple H, and after that, I felt like, they were really deep pushing him, he was hardly getting main event shots and stuff, and he got pushed down to the IC title scene, which was better than nothing, but I still thought he should still be in the main event scene, but You know, Triple H at the time, you know, people getting on him about his ego and stuff. So yeah, and I think I know, but I heard the reason why. I'm hearing that the reason he didn't win is because he was thinking about retiring at that time, and he just got recently married to the beautiful, beautiful Charmel. Butter her down like a biscuit. Booker T is too much. Yeah. Um, it was just a good, yeah, and I think his push didn't start coming up again until like 2004, but it was a brief push. I really thought when he was facing JBL for the WWE title at Survivor Series 2004, I really thought Booker T was gonna win because he was beating JBL at every freaking turn, and he was, and then unfortunately it was just like WrestleMania 19 all over again. He couldn't do it. He didn't win the big one, and then around 2002, that's when he really started getting that push. You know, I hated what they did to his character, King Booker. But that's my opinion of it all. And now, my personal favorite moments of Booker T.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Alright, my favorite moments of Booker T. Like I said earlier, when the Booker T and The Rock had their match for SummerSlam 2001, I really enjoyed that promo they did on SmackDown at the Staples Center, which, yeah, and it was hilarious. And of course, The Rock's infamous promo saying, like, "Who in the blue hell are you?" And then Booker T's like, "My name's Booker. It doesn't matter what your name is." It was hilarious. And then Booker T with that infamous line, like, "Tell me you did not just say that." It was so. And of course, Shane, you know, hyping him up, you know, of course, being his hype guy. And it was a good promo. And I would be crazy not to bring this one up. I remember this when it first happened in 8th grade. The Booker T Stone Cold Steve Austin Supermarket Brawl. This had me laughing in stitches. I was in stitches for this because Booker T was kicking his ass all over the grocery store. It was hilarious, and no matter how, it never gets old when I watch it. It still makes me laugh every now and again. It does. It was that memorable. It was just a highlight for me, and I wish, yeah, WWE would think of stuff like this once in a while. But sadly, you know, they won't. They're not that creative anymore. So, but what it was awesome, awesome. And of course, the Booker T and Goldust, I know, segments, and I enjoyed all these segments they did. And they were a fun tag team next to, of course, the Rock and Sock Connection, but they were second to the Rock and Sock Connection. Rock and Sock Connection are always number one as the most funny, unlikely tag team, but yet at the same time, was so successful. I guess it's true what they say about opposites attract sometimes. I enjoyed that 7-Eleven segment when Booker T was all like, "Oh, thank heaven, 7-Eleven, coast is clear, fine." And then when you saw Goldust in line, it was hilarious. And then when Goldust creeped him out saying, "I'll give you a bite of my wiener," and I was like, "What the?" And then Booker T's like, you know, freaked out, like, "Back up off me, back the hell up. It's over. It's over, sweetheart." And then I enjoyed the bedroom segment from Judgment Day. Yeah, it was 2002. It was very funny, and then he was all like, "Oh God, it was just too funny." And when that girl named Goldust was in the bed, I was like, "Oh my God!" And then he was all like, "Man, you don't return any phone calls." It was hilarious. He's like, "I know when to get your Mac down." They I just wanted to come out because they were showing Booker's ass. I was like, "Oh my God!" And then I even laughed even harder when Goldust was saying, like, "I wore this nightgown for nothing." And I was like, "What the hell did I just see?" That, oh man, Booker T and Goldust had good chemistry, believe it or not. And I enjoyed that lumberjack segment too. He's like, "I am a lumberjack and I'm okay, and I sleep all night and I work all day." And then Booker T dressed up as a lumberjack. It was hilarious. Yeah, you know that lumberjack thing from he was singing from Monty Python. Yeah, it's a nerd thing. I know what that is. on the Christmas segment with him and Christian when they won the tag team titles. Yes, Booker T and Goldust were world tag team champions at one time. And I wish they would have held the belts longer instead of nearly 3 weeks, even though they were over like heck with the fans. Stupid booking. I know. And I like when Goldust was acting like Santa Claus Christmas, and he's like, "You've been a naughty boy this year," and he's like, and here's a gift to you, ass cream with 35% more ass. Because he's like, it's not funny, man. He's like, I don't use any ass cream, and he's like, he's like, okay, oh god, Booker T and Goldust, man, still chuckle. Yeah, and all right, and of course the U.S. title celebration with Booker T. Him and Sharmell faking the world that it was all part of the plan, trying to get Chris Benoit to not win the U.S. title since Booker T wanted to get out of the best of 7 series and had Orton take his place and stuff. So and Orton won the U.S. title for him, and then of course he was all there like, yeah, baby, yeah. And then of course Orlando Jordan had won it, and he's still being as I figured he would be a punchline because he's like he ain't do nothing and and all that stuff. And then King Booker, who I loved and hated at the same time. I had like a love and hate relationship with King Booker. I love the fact he was faking that British accent saying, King Booker, I'm king of the world. And then I hated the fact that he had to use that character to win the world title. I just hated it at the time. But looking at it now, it was pretty funny. And then when he met Crime Time for the first time, they were all talking like in their usual Crime Time way, saying, King Booker! It was hilarious. Yeah, when Crime Time just got into WWE at the time, and then King Booker's like, who are those rapscallions? It was hilarious. He's like, have you seen my wallet? And then Booker T went to his altar. He said, oh no, like they stole my wallet. Oh hell no, you better get that black asses in here. Call the police. Oh hell no. It was hilarious. Oh, I love that segment. And after when Booker T left WWE, I really enjoyed when he made his debut in TNA. His shocking, I guess it was shocking if you knew, Genesis 2007. It was a memorable moment, yeah, but unfortunately afterwards it was all for nothing. He didn't stay with TNA too long, like about a year or two or so. And then, and finally, when Booker T came back last year's World Rumble, I marked out like freaking crazy. And he was doing good too, and it showed that he still has it. And I still think he does now. But yeah, it sucks that he was only for a few minutes. Damn it. Damn Nexus. And of course, before I forget, the most underrated video in my opinion, YouTube history, when he calls, what else? Hulk Hogan, we coming for you, nigga. It was, God, that was surprising. I didn't catch that, and yeah, still to this day, people use that as a punchline, just to try to get a good laugh out of it. And now, my final thought.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Alright, my final thoughts on Booker T, yeah, he was a great wrestler. I'm happy he was in my childhood, and I'm happy me and my dad watched him a lot, and I'm happy my dad considered Booker T to be one of his personal favorites and stuff. So, yeah, and he really did, in my opinion, rep the African American community well, because he grew up in the hood and all that stuff, and then he came up and made something out of himself. And I mean, now to see him with his wife and his twin boys and stuff, and I'm happy he's a commentator right now in WWE, even though a lot of people don't think he's the best commentator. I know he's not the best commentator, and some people say he's the worst commentator, but I don't think so. He's okay sometimes. But Booker T style's like he's so stupid, but it's funny at the same time. So that's how I feel about Booker T's commentary. And Booker T, and I hope someday, when he goes in the WWE Hall of Fame, maybe, I really want his brother Stevie Ray to induct, because we have not seen Stevie Ray in how many years? Oh my God. So that would mean something to me. And okay, well that was it for Booker T this week. And next week will be my final installment of the African American Chronicles, as we it's gonna come to a close next Wednesday with the whole African American, Black History Month. Sorry, comes to a close. And guess who I'm gonna talk about next week? This man needs no introduction. Boost to asses! Boost to asses! Yes! Finally, the moment you've all been waiting for. I've saved the best for last, and you really didn't think I would do the African American Chronicles series without The Rock. I mean, hey, even though he's half black, but he's still a brother at the end of the day. Alright, and I cannot wait to see The Rock, what he's going to do this coming Monday's Raw, when after Cena made those shoot remarks to The Rock. Oh man, I cannot wait to see what he's going to do. Alright, anyways, this is your boy RKO2582 signing off, and I gotta let The Rock do this. No, close it out for me.